Record pie smells pretty good today.
Yeah. As opposed to.
All right, our guest speaker is a U.S. Army veteran. He earned his commission in year 2000 as an ordnance officer, and he's retired from the Army Reserves as a major after 23 years of service. He was deployed to Iraq for Operation Iraqi Freedom 1 and 2. So in 2003 and 2004, he was a convoy commander. He ended his military career at SIUE as an associate professor of military science for the Army Reserves. In 2009, he was appointed to the position of Superintendent of Madison County Veterans Assistance Commission. He is a graduate of SIUE, where he earned both his master's and bachelor's degrees. He lives in Alton with his wife and 3 children. Please join me in welcoming Brad Lavite.
How's everyone doing? I'm gonna grab the microphone. So Devin is here with me today. He is one of our VSOs, veteran service officers. So he's like in the trenches day to day with the veterans. Doing things like this. So thank you for the invite. I'm also a veteran service officer in addition to the superintendent. He's passing out our annual report that just got published December 31st to the governor. And then I'm gonna kind of go over that and just high level stuff so you kind of get a sense for what we do, because a lot of people, we hear it all the time, they might not even know we exist. I look around here, I see a couple of people that I've worked with over the years. It's good seeing you reacquainting that. So I just want to point to what is the VAC, who we are, and what do we do. So we are a separate unit of local government. So we are our own entity. We're a creature of kind of the state. So we have a state law that governs our office called the Military Veterans Assistance Act. It's an old law. It was originally called the Regardless Act. And that set up the structure for our office. And then once that law was passed, then in 2023, the law changed again, and it pretty much secured our funding. So we are on a local tax levy that was voted in by the citizens of Madison County a long time ago. And then just in 2023, the state solidified that percentage in the state statute. And there's paper copies. I know some people like paper. I just couldn't print off. Like there's a lot of people here today, so I'm going to show you where you can go. I got some business cards and magnets too that'll take you directly to the information I'm going to talk about. So we've been around in Madison County since 1933. We're housed up in the administration building, and the law says that the county has to provide us space in order to work. But we're not a creature of the county. So like the county chairman, we're not a department of the county. And we're also not elected. So then if a new political party comes in and takes over control, they can't sweep out the VAC staff or the veterans at the whims of a political campaign. So that's a good thing because we want stability. That's one of the things that veterans often complain about is they come in and see Devin today, and the next election it's no longer Devin, it's somebody else. So we don't have that problem, which is good. And we primarily do three functions. We do what's called administrative casework. That is like helping veterans file for their disability claims through the VA if they were ever hurt, sick, or injured on active duty or in the performance of their duties. That's what Devin does. Then we have emergency financial assistance. That is part of the public aid code that we have to carry out that function. So if a veteran is indigent and needs financial assistance in the community like Edwardsville or Collinsville, then they are sent up to our office. We get first screen at them, right, to screen them. And then we apply whatever benefits we can, and then we send them to the next level of benefits, which would either be the state or another grant, maybe it's a nonprofit was operating here in Madison County, or the federal government. The administrative casework then kind of dovetails into the financial assistance. If they come in for financial assistance, and they have no income. At the same time, we send them over to a veteran service officer who helps them file for their disability. And then we fight that claim. It usually takes, I don't know, what is it, about 6 months to a year right now. It's kind of like helping them file for Social Security disability benefits, but through the Department of Veterans Affairs. So that's what we do. In Devon, in our profession, there's about 2,400 service officers across the United States. And we are the only profession that we're accredited through the Department of Veterans Affairs that can argue before a federal judge without a law like that. So if a veteran keeps getting denied their benefits, and Devon handles their case from start to finish, and it ends up going before the Board of Veterans Appeals, Devon goes up and argues that case before the judge. It's not like you see like, and it's not a courtroom or anything, it's just in a room with the judge and the veteran and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting that we get to do that. We like to win them before they get to that thing. Financial assistance, this is that mandated by the state. We do basic needs. So rent, mortgage, water, sewer, trash, food, and personal hygiene are our big categories. If a veteran comes in and they're in need of financial assistance, then we have to send them over to employment agencies, or they have to go meet with Devon in order to get a more permanent income. And then the last part is we do kind of outreach to these things that kind of like we're doing here. Within Devon's job, because there's all kinds of benefits that the federal government provides veterans, but we like to break them into 3 kind of easy categories to remember. Health insurance, which is the Veterans Health Administration. Veterans Benefits Administration, that's what I was just talking about when somebody's hurt, sick, or injured on active duty. That's a benefit administration. And then finally, the burial at the national cemeteries. So those are the 3 big slices that we look at. If a veteran comes in and they're like, I don't want to enroll in healthcare, and they're young, we're like, well, you're going to enroll in healthcare because what we see happen is they go through life, they think they might not need it now because they're invincible, and 25, 30 years old, just got out of the military. And we're like, well, let's just go ahead and get you enrolled, let's get your burial set up. And if you ever need it, it's there. And then we see it time and time again. They might not think the need is there now, but I guarantee you, my wife, when I entered the service, she said, that's your career. She said, I'll go with you to the malls and all that stuff, but she doesn't understand any of the stuff that I did in service, and she doesn't understand any of the stuff that I did out of service. So we don't also help the veterans, we help their spouses, we help their surviving spouses, we help their children. I was just talking to Steve, and like the benefits that my daughter receives as a result of my service. I mean, I can't even count the times where the military or the VA has stepped in to help. And the difficult part is to keep them long enough to go through the process and to go through the machine that is the VA, the federal government, and the bureaucracy. That's the hardest part. That's where we come in. Keep telling them, hang in there, hang in there, hang in there. And then the burial, the National Cemetery, that's the National Cemetery Administration. Veterans can be buried down there along with their spouses or any disabled child that was disabled prior to the age of 18. Benefits, a lot of people don't know that. If a child is in, say, my household, I have 2 daughters and a son, my youngest daughter, this would apply to if she has a disability or had a disability prior to the age of 18. And then it's certified by the doctor or whatever. And then something happens to me and my wife, she can come up to our office for the rest of her time. And receive benefits, services, guidance, ask questions, and there's always a veteran kind of there. So, the annual report, if you guys go to our website, I'm just gonna point out a couple things here. If you need to refer a veteran for financial assistance, we have a screening platform here. They just click there, the screening opens up, and then it automatically goes over to our other veteran service office for the shut in line. We reviews and screens the application. Then we have that administrative benefit casework that I talked about, and then the outreach and transition. And then this is our meetings and records area. This is our board. Our board is made up of veteran service organizations in Madison County. So we have veterans we have VFWs, American Legions, DAV, Marine Corps League, and the law says that each of those organizations can appoint a delegate and alternate to our commission. So say Edwardsville American Legion, which they're on our commission, every year, it's coming up in March, they can appoint 2 representatives. So here in Edwardsville, Ron Swain is the delegate, he's the primary, and he's also on our executive board. And then we meet monthly as the executive board, and then the full commission, which is 25 service organizations, they appoint 2 representatives, so our commission at large is 50 veterans. And then out of the 50, they elect an executive board of 11. And that's going to kind of oversees our commission here in Madison County. So we're pretty proud of what we do. I know a lot of people, and I'm very conscious on taxpayer money and what we do and the services we provide back to the community. So this is just a cover letter. I'm not going to go through the whole report, but I do encourage you, because you are the taxpayers, and I want to make sure that you guys fully understand where your money's going. And then the services that we're providing are in line with what the federal government is kind of wanting us to do. And then what is the return to you guys? The big difference between the money that we collect in, say, tax levy revenue, it goes to pay a lot of administrative staff. Help veterans file those claims and win. And instead of the money coming back into the local county coffers or the state coffers, that money goes direct. A lot of that money goes directly into the pockets of the veterans, their widows, their children, and then the community. What I mean by that is, so as of November 30th, our commission last year secured almost $18 million for Madison County veterans, their families, and taxpayers. This represents a $22.65 return on every dollar that was actually expended for our tax levy. We had 3,617 office visits to veterans. 988 all kind of outreach where we interacted with 988 veterans in the community or loved them. Almost 24,000 phone calls for a total of just over 28,000 interactions. So that's the summary page. And we're required by law to send the governor and one annual report. Then it just goes into who our staff is, who our commission is. And the reason why I'm showing you this electronically is because all of these links in here are active. So if you go online and you read this, you can click on, the hyperlinks, and it'll take you to where I got that information from. So, and then we also have our finances on there, what we spent. So we have a 2% or 0.02% minimum levy. Now, the law says that if I don't need that much money, then I'm not, I shouldn't request it from the taxpayer. So even though we get 0.02, that's about, last year. It was about 1.6 million. And then we have what we actually spent. Is the difference, and out of that 1.6 million, we spent 38% less than what we could have led the taxpayer. And we still did everything we needed to do. And then that's from another law that says, is it just, right? And is it necessary? So is it just that I could collect the 0.02 from the taxpayers, but is it necessary? So we always work off of that philosophy. And then the last part, I'll just go down to, so a lot of the benefits that we secure on behalf of veterans comes from the federal government. And the federal government, now they are pumping money directly into Madison County every year. And these are the categories that they pump the money into. They break them into two categories: direct and indirect. So direct is the benefits totals up top. So last year on those direct compensation, you can think of it as going into the veteran's pocket. So a veteran was hurt, sick, or injured, they went to death, got them service connected. Federal government starts paying them, say, $4,000 a month for the rest of the veteran's life. That pot of money the federal government paid in Madison County just last year was $142 million. For insurance purposes, it was $500,000. VIC benefits for surviving spouses was $9 million. Then you get down to indirect expenditures. These are things that it's kind of harder to quantify the impact, but indirect benefits are memorial benefits, construction, education, folk rehab. The big one down there is the medical care of almost $90 million. So that includes me every time I go down to the VA. That's how much the federal government paid to the VA, the big federal VA, John Cochran Jefferson Barracks, for my care and every other veteran's care in Madison County just last year. So what does that number represent? So that number totals nearly $250 million, and that represents $308 return for every dollar that's spent on you guys' 2% local levy that operates our office. So I know that's the numbers. That's what I'm big into. That is just now kind of learning about the numbers. He's head deep and working one-on-one with the veteran. That's always our priority. So I'm gonna just leave it at that right now. Also remind you that the magnet's out. I think I may have had it in my pocket or forgotten, but that's on my car. What do you guys question? Any questions?
You may have said it, Devin, were you in service? I'm assuming so, and if so, where, but.
Air Force veteran, that's for Afghanistan.
Air Force, Afghanistan. There, yes.
I know at one time Illinois had a provision for veterans that you served in active duty, that you got out of the service. Illinois paid your tuition if you went to if that's still current.
Yes, under certain circumstances, yes, they may qualify for the GI Bill. On our end, on the veterans service side, that would fall underneath that education and training. And then like my daughter right now, she is up at U of I, and my service pays 100% of her tuition. And then they give her a stipend, which is, I mean, phenomenal. She doesn't have to have the burden of trying to figure out how to pay for school, work on top of going to school, so she can focus on her academic studies. So there are abundance programs, and that's, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is where we are pivoting. Because in the last, what was called the PACT Act, which was signed underneath President Biden, but it goes back all the way to Vietnam veterans, And even before that, where they were fighting for all of these toxic exposures that they were exposed to, say in Vietnam or. I mean, go back to World War I, they used chemical weapons. And then not only overseas here in the United States, there's a lot of places here in the United States that our government, messes up. So, those benefits are there, but like I like to say. A lot of it, and they're not written in the Bill of Rights, and they're not in the Constitution. So a politician at any time can come in and just stroke of a pen and do away with any of this stuff. So that's why we need you guys and us to support the veterans in your community. So when they try to do something like that, you can tell them, no, they deserve those benefits that they fought for.
Are there any volunteer opportunities for community members like us who get involved?
Sure, what would you like to see? Yeah, yes.
What are you looking for?
That got some snow shop. Yes, so we're at the point now, our staff, excuse me, all of our staff was about two years, so we had a pretty 100% turnover of staff in the last 2 years, so we're back, and then we had, you guys were all here during COVID, so that kind of ground to, halt on a lot of the outreach stuff, but a lot of the things that we're heading into is the educational training space. So like going in and working with kids in schools, up at our office, we don't really have a lot of space. And a lot of the stuff that we talk about is like HIPAA and PII, so it's hard to bring volunteers into those conversations. But we always partner with Rotary. I was once a Rotarian, Sultan, and then I had to bow out because my dad is a retiree. But we did a lot, we tag on to a lot of those volunteer opportunities. If you go to the report, and we're always open, if somebody's interested in doing something, we're gonna hook them up with a representative probably in the community. Let me see here. So these are the entities that we kind of supported financially last year in our outreach. At Alton High School, RO Junior ROTC, American Legion Girls State. They'll just stick on that. So that's all of these programs are either non-for-profits or volunteer kind of related. In Girls State and Boys State, those are American Legion run programs. And in the year that my oldest daughter graduated, she graduated from Alton during her sophomore and junior year. She was the only female to go to Girls State from Madison County. And that's not good. And what that is they send her to Eastern Illinois University for a whole week to learn civics and interact with other people across the state. So there's these programs here that we might not like have a lot of volunteer opportunities in our office, but all of these programs that are up here need help. And need professionals and need leaders that are now retired, like Tim. That's it.
Can you talk about how often the council meets?
Sure.
And which ones are open to the public to attend and where you meet?
So I am 100% transparent. If anybody wants to come to any of our meetings, veteran or not, I do not. We are one of the only VACs that provide the financials in our annual report. So you guys don't have to go and dig through the county auditor's page and try to figure out how much money is being spent on our office. So we meet next Tuesday is the meeting, so it's the second Tuesday of every month. It's in the report here, so the dates. But the administration goes, just come in and then we'll direct you ready to go. We'll remodel and the thing, and then we meet quarterly with the full commission. And that is the third Wednesday, I believe, every month. So thank you for that. Come in, Tom. If you have any questions, you can get a hold of me. I appreciate your time. And he's standing up over here. I got time for one more.
Veterans benefits extend to their children.
Yes. Yes, my daughter has nothing to do, she's not in the military and she's receiving every benefit she possibly did because of my service.
You have to have a certain number of years of service to get that. I'm like, it was out on that terribly.
Yeah, it changes, right? So, somebody may be not eligible today for a benefit, the law changes. And then now they are. Yes, yep, and that's why we want a lifelong relationship. So when I see people bring their kids here, I used to drag my daughters to all these events and different things too, because I'm sure you guys, with this, I'm sure you guys in the Rotary face the same challenges with us of this service organization. Getting veterans, their loved ones, their family members to come in. So if you have a need, if you have an additional question, we're gonna stick around a little bit, we'll sign you up, we'll talk to you. What we do is what's called a full benefits review, and we establish a baseline and we see where you're at, and then we go from there. So appreciate your time, thank you for having us, thank you for the bill, and I got to see Mark, thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Oh, look at that, is that mine?
It is. I have a home nursery, allows our family. Thank you.
It's my anniversary, so I just got.
Right.
No.
Perfect. Perfect timing.